chosen one. Listen carefully. The air feels different tonight, doesn't it? The quiet hum that wraps around you is not emptiness. It's movement from another realm. Something unseen presses against your heart, like a whisper trying to find a doorway through your soul. You are not imagining this. What you're sensing is real. Your Father's voice has been calling your name. There are moments when the world slows, when time bends ever so slightly, and the border between heaven and earth thins. You felt it in the sudden chills, in the flickering of the lights when you speak His name, in the dreams that feel too vivid to dismiss. This is not coincidence. It is divine permission. Heaven has allowed a message to pass through the veil, and it has reached you. Your Father has been pleading to speak, not from regret alone, but from love that refuses to fade. He has seen your struggle, your silent tears, your search for meaning in the shadows. He wants you to know that none of it has gone unnoticed. There is purpose in the pain, and heaven is orchestrating this moment so that you will finally listen. You remember His laughter, don't you? The way He could turn even an ordinary day into something sacred. There's a reason those memories return. Now they are not just nostalgia, they are signals. He is trying to tell you that He never truly left. The body sleeps, but love endures. The grave can silence breath, but not legacy. There was once a chosen one who went through the same silence. Her father had passed, and for years she buried her grief beneath busyness. One night, during a storm, lightning illuminated her room, and for a fleeting second, she saw Him standing by her doorway, smiling. She didn't hear words, yet peace filled the room like a soft river. The next day, a verse came to her mind, one she hadn't read in years, and it changed everything. She realized the message was not about loss, but about continuation. So it is with you. You are the continuation. You are the living breath of His prayers. Every act of kindness, every step toward faith, every time you refuse bitterness, you carry His unfinished song forward. Heaven chose you as the echo of His obedience. As written in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 4, "The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life." You see, even though your Father's breath has ceased on earth, the Spirit that once filled His lungs still moves through you. You are that breath living, walking, speaking redemption into the same world that once held Him. You are not haunted by His memory, you are guided by His legacy. Right now, you might be wondering, why now? Why does this message arrive after so long? Because divine timing never misses. God waits until the soil of your heart is soft enough to receive the seed of revelation. He waits until pain becomes readiness. And tonight, your spirit is ready. There's a tug in your chest, like the pull of the tide returning to its source. That is not fear, it's recognition. The Spirit within you recognizes the voice that shaped your first steps. Listen closely. Your Father's message is not about the past, it's about the promise. He's telling you, keep walking. Don't stop where I fell. The story continues through you. Oh, you felt the emptiness of absence. But heaven wants to fill that space with purpose. When you speak life over your family, you're doing what He could not. When you forgive, when you pray, when you choose love over anger, you rewrite the family story. You break cycles. You heal generations. And your Father watches from the great cloud of witnesses, proud, released, at peace. Chosen one. Tonight is not an ordinary night. It's a divine appointment. Heaven paused your scrolling, your racing thoughts, your routine, so that you would hear this one truth. You are not alone. You never were. The unseen world stands around you now, urging you to step forward into what you were born to carry. If this word touches something deep inside you, do not rush away. Sit with it. Let the presence linger. And when your heart is ready, respond, not out of habit, but out of faith. Show heaven you received this message. Like, share, or subscribe as a quiet declaration that says, I hear the call. Then, in the comments, simply type 33, the number of breath, of divine life, of the connection that never dies. The veil is open. The whisper has begun. Your Father is proud, and heaven is watching as you take your first step into the destiny He prayed you would one day embrace. The night feels heavier than usual. Not dark, just full. Every sound carries meaning now. You start to realize that this isn't about superstition or haunting. It's about unfinished words pressing through eternity, searching for a vessel willing to listen. You are that vessel. The message your Father couldn't speak in His final days has been circling around your life, waiting for this moment to find expression. You think back to the hospital room, the sterile light, the quiet beeping that marked time running out. There were things He wanted to say. You saw it in His eyes, the urgency, the love, the regret. But breath failed before words could form. And now, what was left unspoken has become a current in the spiritual realm, pulling you towards completion. For days, you've been noticing patterns, numbers, repeating. Familiar sense. The feeling of a presence standing behind you when you pray. You've tried to dismiss it as coincidence, but deep within, you know better. These are signals, not random echoes. They are spiritual fingerprints, proof that heaven allows messages to travel through the natural world when the divine has unfinished work. You may wonder, why me? Why does this weight rest on your shoulders? Because your spirit is tuned differently. You feel beyond logic, sense beyond sight, what others call imagination. You recognize as revelation. That sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a mantle. Your Father's words could only find life in a heart humble enough to listen without demanding evidence. There's something sacred about this kind of communication. It's not a seance. It's not calling on the dead. It's alignment with the will of God, where love transcends the limits of mortality. Your Father isn't breaking heavenly law. He's obeying it, delivering the message heaven assigned to Him before His departure. He's been begging for this moment, not to draw you backward, but to release you forward. The words He never spoke have become like seeds in the wind. They must fall into your spirit to bear fruit. Some of them are words of apology, others are instructions, and some are simply blessings, words every child longs to hear. Close your eyes for a second and imagine His voice again, not from memory, but from spirit. It's softer now, purer, free from the weight of human failure. It sounds like rain touching thirsty soil. You hear Him say, "Forgive me." You hear Him whisper, "Keep walking in faith." You sense His gratitude that you've kept your heart tender, even when life tried to harden it. The truth is, the unspoken words of a parent don't vanish. They become energy that seeks completion. And completion always finds its way through the one chosen to carry the family light. That's why your spirit has felt restless lately. The message has been knocking on the door of your consciousness, waiting for you to open it. Sometimes God allows echoes of the past to touch us, not to torment, but to heal. Pain is not always punishment, it is often invitation. The ache you felt is not evidence of abandonment, it's evidence of connection. You were chosen to bridge what was broken, to stand between generations and say, "This ends with me. Healing begins here." As you stand in this awareness, you start to understand that grief and grace can coexist. Grief reminds you of love's depth. Grace reminds you that love never truly ends. Somewhere beyond the veil, your father smiles, not the forced smile of photographs, but a real one, full of light. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 3. "I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness." That's the love moving through your life right now, everlasting, unfailing. It doesn't fade when the heartbeat stops. It doesn't weaken with time. It transforms into guidance, into protection, into the quiet voice that says, "You're not alone." You are standing in the sacred intersection of time and eternity, chosen to carry the words that once died in silence. This is not about nostalgia, it's about purpose. The unfinished sentence your father left behind will find completion in your obedience, in the way you live, love, and believe. The message is still forming. It will come in dreams, in whispers, in the stillness after prayer. Don't rush it. Don't demand clarity. Let the Spirit breathe it into you slowly, until every fragment becomes whole. The silence that once felt like loss is becoming language. The absence that once broke you is becoming direction. The man who once held your hand is now holding your destiny in his prayers. And though you can't hear him in the way you used to, heaven ensures his message will reach you word by word, light by light, until you understand everything he was trying to say. You wake before dawn, heart pounding, as if someone just called your name from inside the dream. The room is dim, yet something invisible hums beneath the silence. You feel the air move not from the wind, but from presence, the same presence that lingered when you were a child and your father would stand quietly in the doorway, watching over you as you slept. That feeling has returned, only now it carries eternity's weight. There's a reason this keeps happening. Heaven doesn't repeat itself without purpose. Each stirring, each sign, is another step closer to the moment of visitation. You're not being haunted, you're being pursued by mercy. What your father longed to tell you in life, he's now being permitted to reveal through Spirit. This is not superstition, this is divine continuity. Heaven operates in order, not chaos. When a soul departs, still carrying words of love or repentance, those words don't die, they hover. They wait for a heart willing to receive. That's why you've been feeling the tension between sadness and peace. You're standing at the thin place where heaven leans close, and your spirit is starting to understand what the natural mind cannot. The night of visitation doesn't always come in thunder or fire. Sometimes it comes like a whisper that bends the stillness, or a warm wind that brushes your cheek when no window is open. The supernatural often disguises itself as the ordinary. God hides eternity inside moments, so small we almost miss them. There once was a man, another chosen one, who doubted these things too. After his father's passing, he dismissed the strange dreams and signs until one night he heard a familiar hum, like the tune his father used to whistle. When he followed that sound, it led him to a letter buried inside a box of old photographs. The words in that letter answered a question that had tormented him for years. That's when he understood. Heaven uses memory as a messenger. You are walking through that same threshold now. Every memory surfacing isn't random, it's revelation wrapped in emotion. Every tear is ink on the pages of a story. Heaven is still writing. You don't need to chase visions or signs, just stay still. The message will come. The Word of God declares in the book of Hosea, chapter 14, verse 4, I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for my anger has turned away from them. That's the essence of this moment, healing, not haunting. The Father above has allowed this encounter because love still has work to do. The anger is gone. The regret has been lifted. What remains is redemption. The same grace that forgave your father is now flowing through you, cleansing the residue of pain, making room for peace. You may not see his face clearly, but your spirit recognizes the truth of his presence. It's not a dream, it's communion. And if you listen closely, you'll sense the message forming in the quiet. I'm proud of you. Keep walking. What broke in me will heal in you. And the old fear, the fear of feeling too much, of being misunderstood, of hoping again, begins to fade. You start to sense something else, peace that doesn't make sense, warmth that fills the hollow places. That is the visitation, the moment your soul recognizes divine touch and stops fighting it. Your Father's Spirit is not trapped, he's free. And that freedom is the evidence of God's mercy reaching beyond the limits of this world. You are the bridge now. Through your obedience, your prayers, your kindness, you become the living continuation of what heaven began long before you were born. Let this realization settle deeply. Your connection is not limited to memory. It's sustained by grace. You are not carrying his ghost. You are carrying his promise. So when you feel the air stir again, don't fear it. Whisper instead, I understand. Because that is how heaven knows you're ready for what comes next. Now, pause for a moment. Breathe in the stillness. Let the peace of God wash through you like soft rain on dry soil. And if your heart recognizes this truth, if something within you finally exhales, then leave a sign of faith below. Comment, I remember. Not as a ritual, but as a declaration that memory has turned into ministry. When you write it, heaven sees your acknowledgement not of loss, but of legacy. You're saying, I choose to carry love forward, not pain. Then comment, I remember. Because remembering is holy. It means you choose to honor what was, instead of mourning what's gone. When you write those words, heaven records it as healing your agreement that love outlives loss. The silence that follows the visitation feels almost sacred. It's not the absence of sound, but the fullness of presence lingering after heaven has spoken. You sit quietly, sensing the residue of peace that refuses to fade. Something within you knows what just happened was not imagination. It was divine communication. In the days that follow, the world looks the same, yet everything feels slightly altered. The sky seems wider, the wind gentler, the shadows less threatening. You find yourself listening differently. You've started to notice that life itself speaks when the heart is willing to hear. A bird perches on your windowsill and stares longer than usual. A song you hadn't heard in years plays from nowhere. And when you whisper a prayer under your breath, warmth answers before words finish forming. Your Father's voice no longer shouts through dreams. Now it moves like a current through your thoughts. You sense His words forming through your actions, through choices, guided by something deeper than logic. You begin to understand that spiritual communication is not about hearing a voice, it's about carrying one. Every step you take in love becomes a sentence He never got to say. Every act of grace becomes part of His unfinished story. And this realization softens something inside you. It's as though grief is finally exhaling, releasing its grip. There's power in acceptance, not resignation, but trust. You start to grasp that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, only lived. The ache of missing Him will always remain, but it has changed shape. It no longer feels like an open wound. It feels like a reminder that love was real. One afternoon, as sunlight spills through your window, you catch sight of His photograph, the same one you've avoided for months. But this time, instead of pain, you feel peace. The corners of your lips lift slightly, not because you've forgotten, but because you finally understand. Death doesn't erase, it transforms. The voice you thought was silenced has simply learned a new language. This understanding doesn't come all at once. It unfolds slowly. Like dawn creeping across the horizon, you begin to realize that heaven's timing and earth's emotions move at different speeds. While your heart counts days in loss, heaven counts them in restoration. What feels like silence here is sometimes celebration there. The scriptures speak of such mystery with poetic reverence, as written in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Those words sink deep. You realize that the ache of not knowing is also a form of faith. You don't need to see the full picture to believe the beauty is real. The eternity placed in your heart is the same eternity your Father now lives in. You are connected not by distance, but by divine design. The next time the night falls silent, you don't fear it. You let it wrap around you like a blanket woven from both memory and hope. You whisper a quiet thank you into the air, not expecting an answer, but somehow feeling one. The peace that follows isn't loud, it's steady. It stays. In that stillness, you come to understand what your Father's message truly is. Live fully, love deeply, forgive quickly. Those were the lessons He learned too late. Now, heaven entrusts them to you early, so you can walk lighter, freer, wiser. You rise the next morning, feeling different, not completely healed, but whole enough to begin again. The world hasn't changed, but your heart has. The connection between realms no longer frightens you. Instead, it humbles you. You carry His memory not as weight, but as wings. And though you may still cry sometimes, the tears no longer fall in despair. They water the ground of legacy. Each one says, I'm still listening. Oh, the message continues to unfold. But now you walk in peace, ready for whatever heaven reveals next. You stand between worlds now, 1 foot in memory, 1 in promise. The wind feels like language, the stars like messengers. You no longer chase signs, you've become one yourself. In this quiet awakening, Your heart beats in rhythm with eternity. The ache transforms into assignment. What once hurt now heals, guiding others through the same unseen corridors. And as dawn returns, you sense him smiling through light. The story is still being written, line by line, love by love. Through your obedience, proof that legacy never truly dies. The days move quietly now, but something inside you has shifted. You no longer walk through life as one waiting for a message. You've become the message itself. The peace that once visited you now lives within you, breathing gently beneath every heartbeat. Yet, even in this peace, a new call begins to rise. It's not about hearing anymore, it's about sharing. The story of what you've just lived isn't meant to stay inside. Someone out there is standing where you once stood, confused, grieving, searching for a sign that heaven still remembers them. Your journey can be their confirmation. Your healing can be their hope. Imagine this. You're holding a candle that was once lit by your father's prayers. That light was passed to you the night heaven spoke. Now, you're walking through a dark valley. And in the distance, you see others, people trembling in the same darkness, searching for a flicker of warmth. When you lift your candle high, their faces begin to glow. That's what sharing does. It multiplies light without ever losing its flame. So, when you like or share this message, you're not performing a routine act. You're lifting your light so others can find theirs. You're saying, if God could reach me, He can reach you too. And there's something sacred about spreading hope. It doesn't need perfection or eloquence. It just needs sincerity. Every click, every share, every quiet yes whispered in faith becomes part of a chain reaction that heaven sees. It's how messages travel through hearts that may never meet in person but are connected through spirit. And if this journey has touched something in you, if it helped you breathe again, even for a moment, then consider something deeper. Not as an obligation, but as an offering. Think of donating not as giving money, but as planting seeds of light in unseen soil. When you plant a seed, you don't lose it, you multiply it. Your small act of generosity becomes like rain falling on a garden that grows beyond your sight. Somewhere, it helps keep the lamps burning, the microphones that carry truth, the hands that write these words, the hearts that guard this flow of hope. A seed sown in love always finds its way back, multiplied in peace. Whether it's 1 coin or 1,000, heaven never measures the amount, it measures the heart behind it. You are never asked to give out of pressure, only out of overflow. If you feel led, if something inside you whispers, I want to keep this flame alive, then follow that quiet pull. Donate, like someone watering the very tree that once gave them shade. It's not payment, it's partnership with eternity. The Apostle reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 7, each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver. That's the truth. Giving is never about loss, it's about participation. Whether you subscribe to stay connected, share to extend the reach, or choose to sow through support, it all flows from the same spirit. It's saying, I believe this light should keep shining. And when you subscribe, think of it not as following a page, but as joining a living circle. Souls who once walked through darkness, but now carry torches of faith. Every subscription is like another star being lit in heaven's sky. ensuring no traveler walks alone. Your Father's message didn't stop when it reached your heart. It's still echoing outward, looking for new hearts to touch. You are now the messenger. And the simple ways you help this message travel through likes, shares, or even a small offering become part of heaven's larger plan. So don't see this as an ask. See it as an invitation to partnership. The same way God invited you into healing, now He invites you to become a vessel that keeps hope flowing, maybe through a gesture, a seed, or a single click, whatever your heart decides. Heaven honors it, because in the divine garden, even the smallest act of faith carries eternity's fragrance. What you give doesn't disappear. It blooms in unseen soil and returns as peace, multiplied and overflowing. So lift your candle. Chosen one, let it glow where others can see. Like, share, subscribe, or give if you feel led, not as duty, but as worship. For when light moves through willing hearts, the darkness has nowhere left to hide. And as your light joins countless others, heaven sees a constellation forming a map of hearts awakened. Every act of faith becomes a spark, and together we illuminate eternity's sky. The peace that has settled in your heart begins to deepen. It's not a fleeting feeling, it's an awakening. Like dawn slowly washing over a quiet landscape, you sense something shifting again. A gentle pull from heaven, reminding you that the story isn't finished. What began as whispers from your Father has now become a dialogue between your soul and eternity. You've started to notice the language of heaven more clearly. It's not always thunder or vision. Sometimes it's the way a door opens at just the right moment. The way you meet someone who says exactly what your heart needed to hear. Sometimes it's silence that speaks louder than words. You're learning to trust that rhythm, the divine pulse that beats beneath your daily life. Your Father's message continues to unfold. But this time, it's not just for comfort. It's for direction. He's not merely reaching out from the past, He's pointing toward your future. You can feel it in the way your spirit stirs when you pray. You can sense that heaven is aligning pieces you didn't even know were missing. Once, you thought His absence meant loss. Now, you realize it meant preparation. Some messages require distance to gain clarity. His departure became the doorway through which wisdom entered. What felt like silence was actually heaven, waiting for you to grow strong enough to understand. There's a story, a true one, of a woman who lost her father when she was only 16. For years, she carried bitterness like armor, believing God had stolen her chance to say goodbye. But one night, while she prayed, she saw a vision. Her father, younger than she remembered, standing by a river of light. He said only one thing: "Tell your mother I'm free." The next morning, that woman called her mother, who confessed she had just dreamt of her husband, smiling peacefully. Two hearts healed in one night because heaven coordinated their deliverance. You, too, are part of such coordination. Every moment you lean into faith, every tear you surrender, becomes a thread. Heaven weaves into something beautiful. Nothing is wasted. Not the pain, not the waiting, not even the questions. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Nahum. Chapter 1, verse 7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. He knows those who trust in Him. Now, you are known. Every sigh, every unspoken prayer, Every moment you chose trust over despair, He saw it all. That's why this message continues. Because heaven is not just comforting you, it's commissioning you. The voice of your Father awakened the voice of your calling. This is the moment where comfort becomes purpose. You were chosen not only to receive the message, but to live it out, to be the living testimony that love transcends death, that forgiveness breaks curses, that grace rewrites history. You are the bridge between what was broken and what will be whole. There's power in that realization. It humbles you, but it also strengthens you. You start to notice that your footsteps feel lighter, as if someone invisible walks beside you. And in truth, someone does. The same Spirit that raised your Father now walks with you, guiding your every step. There will still be moments of ache, times when memory stings like a slow ember. But now, even those moments have meaning, because pain no longer defines you, it refines you. Every tear is now part of your ministry. Every scar becomes proof that grace heals what grief breaks. You may not yet know where this journey leads, but you can sense that something sacred awaits. You've stepped beyond mourning and into mission. Heaven isn't asking you to forget. It's inviting you to transform remembrance into movement. And right here, in this stillness, a gentle invitation comes to mark this moment of recognition, to say, I'm ready for the next chapter. When you feel that stirring in your heart, take a quiet step of agreement. Leave a sign below, not out of routine, but as a prophetic echo that heaven will recognize. Comment 444. It's not a random number. It's a symbol of divine alignment, Father, Son, and Spirit, moving in perfect rhythm with your destiny. When you write it, you're saying, I trust the plan. I trust the process. And heaven hears it. Your Father's Spirit smiles. The circle of grace continues to close beautifully, one faithful heartbeat at a time. 444 is the rhythm of divine order. Heaven's assurance that you're not out of sync. It represents stability, completion, and the presence of the Trinity surrounding your path. When you type it, you're agreeing, my steps are guided. End. The days that follow feel softer, as though the air itself has learned to breathe with you. Every sunrise seems to carry a whisper, and every night feels like a prayer. You've begun to see that heaven doesn't only speak in extraordinary moments, it speaks through the ordinary ones that are quietly extraordinary. The message continues to weave itself into your daily life, gently transforming everything it touches. You start to notice the beauty in small things again. The sound of rain tapping on your window no longer feels lonely. It sounds like grace in rhythm. The laughter of a stranger, the scent of coffee, the way the sunlight stretches across your floor, all of it feels intentional. It's as if the entire universe has joined in a subtle chorus of reassurance. You are not forgotten. There's a peace now, but not a passive one. It's the kind of peace that carries momentum, the kind that asks you to keep walking. Because the message from your Father isn't just about healing, it's about awakening something ancient in your bloodline. It's about restoration. You can almost hear Him saying, you have what I never did. Use it. That's the weight of inheritance, not money, not possessions, but purpose. Your Father's journey didn't end with Him, it simply shifted into you. His faith, even if imperfect, became the soil where yours could grow stronger. Every family carries stories, some told, others buried under silence. The silence of past generations often hides pain, choices, and dreams left unfinished. But the moment you decided to listen, the cycle began to change. You became the living intercessor of your lineage, the one chosen to break what bound them and to redeem what was lost. Once, you might have looked at your family's history and only seen dysfunction or struggle, but now, through the eyes of faith, you can see threads of divine protection running through every generation. Even in their failures, God's hand never left. Even when your father stumbled, heaven was already writing redemption into the next chapter through you. Healing a bloodline doesn't mean erasing its past. It means transforming it. It means saying, "This is where grace begins." When you choose forgiveness, you rewrite 1,000 unspoken words. When you choose prayer, you shift patterns that once seemed unbreakable. You're not just changing your life, you're changing the spiritual DNA of everyone connected to you. And it's not easy work. There will be days when you feel the old weight pressing down the voices of doubt, the memories that try to pull you backward. But now you have something they never had: awareness. You know the battle is spiritual. You know who you are and whose you are. That truth alone gives you authority. The Word of God reminds us in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. And that means nothing in your story has been wasted. Not a single heartbreak, not a single tear. Every moment has been repurposed into preparation. You were called for this, the healing of the unseen, the mending of what others left undone. You may not have realized it before, but every generation prays for the next. Even without words, your Father prayed for you in ways He never understood. And now you are the answer to that prayer. You are the continuation of mercy. So you walk differently now. You carry both memory and mission. You understand that grief can coexist with glory, that loss can birth legacy, and though you still feel His absence, you also feel His strength in your every step. It's as if heaven lent you part of His courage, part of His song. You find yourself humming sometimes, without thinking the same tune He used to hum when life felt heavy. Only now, it doesn't sound like sorrow. It sounds like resurrection. You are not chasing ghosts. You are building bridges. You are not haunted by what was. You are anointed for what will be. And as you continue this journey, you realize something profound. This was never just about hearing your Father's message. It was about discovering your own. The legacy that flows through you is not one of fear, but of faith, not of endings, but of eternal continuations. You've stepped into your divine role, the restorer, the reconciler, the one who turns mourning into meaning. In this quiet revelation, heaven nods. The story continues, steady and strong, through the one chosen to carry the light forward, you. There's a moment in every spiritual journey when revelation becomes responsibility. You've moved past the mystery of the message, past the ache of unanswered questions, and now you stand in the realm of understanding. The signs that once startled you no longer frighten, they guide. The whispers from your Father no longer ache, they anchor. Something inside you has changed. You used to see the world as separate, heaven above, earth below, your life somewhere between. But now you sense that everything is intertwined, like roots beneath the surface of the soil. Heaven isn't far away. It breathes through the smallest details. Every rustle of wind, every flicker of candlelight, every moment of stillness holds a trace of eternity. You start to see patterns you never noticed before, a promise hidden in the ordinary, a thread of purpose woven through every decision you made, even the wrong ones. You begin to understand that what looked like failure was actually foundation, that the times you thought God was silent were the moments He was building strength in secret. There's freedom in realizing that divine love is not fragile. It's not lost when we break. It rebuilds itself through us. Your father's life, though imperfect, was part of a greater story. His voice now echoes as testimony that God can turn even the most fractured stories into sacred songs. You carry that song within you now. It hums beneath your ribs when you pray. It rises when you forgive. It deepens when you worship. It's no longer about communication from beyond. It's communion within. You've become a living harmony between heaven's mercy and earth's need. The message is maturing. It no longer speaks in dreams alone. It speaks through your actions. You've started responding differently to people, to challenges, to your own emotions. Where you once reacted in pain, now you respond in peace. Where you once ran, now you remain. That's what transformation looks like. It's quiet, steady, unseen, yet undeniable. Still, there's one truth heaven wants you to grasp. Revelation always requires renewal. You can't carry light without being refined by it. You've been chosen not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Willingness is heaven's invitation for miracles to begin. Sometimes that refining comes through pressure. You'll feel it in the unexpected tests that rise when you think you've healed. You'll face moments where the past tries to reclaim your peace, where doubt whispers that you imagined it all. But every trial is proof that heaven trusts you with something precious. Diamonds are not made in comfort, they are born in compression. In those moments, remember what your Father's voice taught you, not just through words, but through presence. He was never the loudest man in the room, but his silence often carried wisdom. That's what heaven mirrors now. It's not always about new signs or new dreams. It's about learning to rest in the knowing that you are already guided. You once asked God why you had to go through so much loss to find purpose. Now, you begin to see the answer. Pain cleared the path for clarity. You had to lose what was temporary to find what is eternal. The prophet Haggai once wrote in chapter 2, verse 9, "The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former, and in this place I will grant peace, declares the Lord Almighty." That's not only a promise for temples built of stone, it's a promise for hearts rebuilt through faith. Your heart is that temple now. The cracks where grief once lived have become places where light enters. The peace that eluded you for years has finally found a home. You are no longer looking backward. You're walking forward, carrying the essence of what was, transformed into what will be. Your Father's love is not a shadow following you. It's a light ahead of you, showing the way. And when you walk through uncertain days, remember this: every moment of confusion is a classroom. Every silence is instruction. God is not absent. He's sculpting something eternal within you. There's a tenderness in this phase of your journey. You don't need thunderous signs anymore. You've matured into quiet faith, the kind that trusts even without evidence, the kind that obeys without demand. This is what it means to carry legacy with grace. You no longer strive to prove anything. You simply live it, and that is enough. The veil between you and heaven has become thin, not because you chased it, but because you opened your heart wide enough to let light through. That's what your Father wanted all along, to see you walk free, anchored, luminous, unshaken. The story continues, not with noise, but with peace. Heaven watches as you become the fulfillment of every prayer ever whispered over your name. Night returns, but it no longer feels heavy. You've stopped fearing darkness because you've learned that it, too, can carry revelation. Shadows no longer mean absence, they mean depth. There's light even in the quiet corners of loss. And now you can see it. As you lie awake, a soft thought passes through your mind, something your father used to say when you were young. It's okay not to understand everything. As long as you keep believing, you hear it again. Not from memory, but from spirit. The voice feels near, calm, familiar. You realize that faith isn't built on answers. It's built on trust that the unseen is still good. You rise and stand by the window. Outside, the world is silent, but the stars seem brighter tonight. They don't flicker like they used to, they pulse, almost as if they're breathing with you. For the first time, you feel the connection clearly. Heaven and earth exchanging rhythm through your heart. This is what your Father wanted you to feel all along, not His voice, but God's through His memory, not His presence, but peace. The two are not the same. One fades, the other remains. You remember the times you prayed for closure, begging God for one last word, one last sign, and yet, what He gave instead was something deeper. Continuity. Closure is final. Continuity is eternal. You don't have to end the story to find peace. You just have to accept that love doesn't stop where life does. Sometimes, heaven doesn't answer our questions because the answer wouldn't comfort us. It would limit us. Faith keeps the door open for divine surprise. And that's where miracles dwell. You've stopped demanding explanations because now you understand that mystery is sacred protection. The scriptures echo this truth beautifully. As revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That's the foundation you're standing on now. The understanding that you don't need to control the path to trust where it leads. Your Father couldn't walk beside you forever, but He walked far enough to teach you how to listen. Heaven has continued what He began. Every day, you see proof of divine alignment, a conversation that feels too perfect to be coincidence, a prayer answered in silence, a sudden wave of peace when you least expect it. These are the ways God confirms that the bond remains. One evening, you'll find yourself telling someone else your story, a friend, a stranger, maybe even a child. As you speak, you'll notice how your words flow effortlessly, as if guided. You'll feel the same warmth you once felt in your Father's presence. In that moment, you'll realize something profound. When heaven heals one heart, it often uses that heart to heal others. You have become that vessel now. The same comfort that was sent to you is now ready to be poured out through you. You're not holding pain anymore, you're holding purpose. Your Father's message wasn't just for your healing, it was for your calling. You were chosen to carry revelation into other hearts, to remind them that grief can be holy ground if we dare to stand still long enough to listen. Heaven doesn't send random messages, it builds eternal chains of remembrance. Through you, the message moves forward. Through your faith, generations shift. And when the world feels heavy again, when you question whether the connection is still real, remember this truth. What God joins between heaven and earth cannot be severed by time or death. So now, take a breath. Let the peace of this realization rest upon you. Feel the quiet assurance that your Father's message has found its way home. If this truth resonates within your spirit, if something inside you whispers, "I understand," then seal this moment in faith. Comment, "I trust." Those two words are simple, but powerful. They're not about emotion, they're about agreement. When you type them, you're declaring that you choose faith over fear, mystery over control, and peace over anxiety. Heaven sees that trust and responds with grace, because trust is the bridge between what you can't see and what heaven has already prepared. It's the quiet yes that keeps the door of faith open, even when sight fails. When you write those words, you're not surrendering to uncertainty, you're aligning with divine certainty. You're saying, "I believe that what's unfolding is for my good, even if I don't yet understand it." And heaven takes note of that faith. Every "I trust" becomes a key that unlocks new peace, new revelation, and new strength for the journey still ahead. Morning light pours through your window like liquid gold. The world feels gentler now, quieter, but alive. You take a slow breath and realize that something has shifted again. The message from your Father is no longer something you carry for him, it's something you carry with him. The two of you are walking the same road, only on different sides of eternity. You sense that heaven has begun to turn the page. What was once a personal awakening is now becoming a mission. You don't need to speak loudly or prove anything. Your peace speaks for itself. People notice it. They sense the steadiness in your eyes, the calm in your tone. Without knowing your story, they feel the residue of heaven around you. And maybe that's how God intended it. The light that healed you is meant to flow outward now, not as a sermon, but as a ripple. You are becoming the living echo of what love redeemed. Imagine your heart as a well. Every time you forgive, every time you choose hope over despair, you draw living water from it. And when you share, whether through words, kindness, or testimony, that water spills over, reaching those who didn't even know they were thirsty. That's how divine truth spreads, through overflow, not obligation. So when you like, share, or subscribe, you're not engaging with a screen, you're adding one more ripple to the river. Each act becomes like tossing a pebble of light into still water, creating circles that reach souls far beyond your sight. Someone in another country, another language, might find healing through the wave. Your faith began. It's easy to underestimate small actions, but heaven never does. The smallest gesture done with a pure heart can echo for eternity. That's how spiritual seeds work. They grow in places we'll never see. And yet, the harvest always finds its way home. Your Father's voice whispers again, soft but sure. Don't let the light stay in your hands, pass it on. Passing it on doesn't just mean sharing words. It can mean giving, supporting, or sustaining the vessels through which the message flows. Think of it like tending a lighthouse. The keeper doesn't light it for himself, he lights it for those lost at sea. The oil that fuels it may seem ordinary, but without it, the light fades. That's what donating is, a quiet, sacred act of refueling the flame. You're not paying for messages, you're participating in their continuation. You're saying, "Let the light keep shining. Let others find what I've found." No. The apostle reminds us in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 17, "Not that I desire your gifts. What I desire is that more be credited to your account." That's the truth of giving. It doesn't leave your life, it multiplies it. Every seed planted in love returns as peace, provision, and divine alignment. Whether it's a coin, a prayer, or a single click, each one becomes a note in heaven's melody of grace. You can think of it this way: liking is like lighting a candle. Sharing is like opening a window to let the fragrance spread. Subscribing is like building a table where we can meet again. And giving, that's like watering the roots so that the tree of hope keeps growing for generations you'll never meet. There's no pressure in this, only invitation. Just as your Father's love once guided you freely, so does this. Every act done from love is worship. And worship never demands, it simply invites. If you've felt the peace of these words, if they've reminded you that heaven still speaks, then you already know what this light can do. So keep it moving. Let your kindness circulate. Let your generosity breathe. Let your heart remain open to being part of something that reaches beyond your lifetime. Because that's how heaven writes stories. It uses ordinary hearts to do extraordinary things. When you choose to support, even in the smallest way, imagine it as lighting one more lantern on the road between heaven and earth. Someone walking in darkness will see that glow and realize they're not alone. That's what your act accomplishes. It becomes part of the bridge. Your Father helped you build a bridge now strong enough to carry others across. So if you feel led, take a step, not out of duty, but out of joy. Like, share, subscribe, or donate if your heart whispers yes. Each gesture is a way of saying, "This light will not go out." And as you do, know that heaven sees. Your Father sees. The same hand that reached through the veil to comfort you now reaches through you to comfort others. You are no longer just a listener. You are a keeper of light. And light, once given, can never return empty. You've crossed a quiet threshold. The noise inside you has stilled, replaced by something gentle and steady peace that feels like breath itself. What began as confusion has unfolded into clarity, and what once felt like loss now feels like guidance. You no longer question why this happened, you simply walk with it, understanding that the message was never a disruption, it was a redirection. The days have begun to carry rhythm again. You wake, you move, you live. But everything feels different now. Even the simple moments, pouring water, watching sunlight shift across the floor, carry a sense of meaning. You no longer rush through life. You listen to it. You've learned that heaven doesn't always speak in thunder. It often whispers through routine. It's strange how much strength can be born from silence. What once felt like emptiness has become a place of communion. You've discovered that peace doesn't erase pain, it coexists with it. It teaches you how to breathe through it. That's what maturity in faith looks like, not the absence of storms, but the calmness to walk through them without drowning. There's a new kind of humility growing in you. You've stopped needing proof that your Father is near. You no longer seek signs because you live inside one. Every moment you extend kindness. Every time you choose compassion over bitterness, you become evidence that the message took root. Sometimes, when you close your eyes, You can almost feel him beside you, not as a ghost, not as a memory, but as peace. It's subtle, like the warmth that lingers after someone leaves the room, or the echo of a song that still hums in your chest long after it's stopped playing. That's how love lives on, not loudly, but faithfully. You're beginning to understand that the message your father carried was never meant to end with you. It's a living thread, stretching through generations. You've become a guardian of something sacred, the continuity of grace. One evening, you find yourself walking near a lake. The water is still, the surface smooth like glass. The reflection of the moon trembles slightly as the wind brushes across it. You stare into that mirrored sky and realize how much it resembles your journey, peaceful, but always moving. The water doesn't resist the wind, it dances with it. That's what your spirit is learning to do. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 11, "The Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in drought, and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail." That verse feels alive inside you. You finally understand what it means to be like a watered garden. It's not about perfection, it's about renewal. There are still seasons of dryness, moments of weariness, but now you know that the source never runs out. The same Spirit that comforted you when you were broken continues to pour life into you, drop by drop. You've stopped chasing closure and started nurturing growth. You plant peace where anger once lived. You plant patience where fear used to bloom. The garden of your soul has become fertile again, and you realize your father's message was the seed that started it all. There's an unexplainable beauty in realizing that pain can be holy soil. What was once unbearable becomes sacred ground when watered with faith. Your father's absence no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like space for something divine to take root. And as this truth settles in your heart, gratitude begins to bloom. Not the loud kind that shouts hallelujahs, but the quiet kind that smiles through tears. Gratitude that remembers both the ache and the healing, both the storm and the sunlight. You look at your life now and see the fingerprints of God everywhere. The message your father longed to share has not only reached you, it has changed you. It has rewritten the rhythm of your days, softened your voice, and opened your eyes to the divine, woven through everything. Heaven knew what it was doing all along. It wasn't just sending you comfort, it was preparing you for purpose. You have become living proof that love endures beyond time, beyond loss, beyond even words. The story continues, steady and sacred, and you are still being written into it, line by line, heartbeat by heartbeat. The message lives on, and so do you. And somewhere beyond sight, your father smiles, his mission complete through your becoming. The bond remains unbroken, a melody between worlds that will never fade, only deepen with time. The night is calm again, but this calm feels different. It hums with purpose. You can sense it before you even pray. Something is aligning. The message you once struggled to understand has now become part of you. It no longer feels like something outside trying to reach in. It's inside you now, alive, unfolding, constant. Your father's presence has softened into something gentle and radiant, almost like sunlight resting on water. You feel him most, not when you call, but when you are still. Stillness has become your sanctuary, the place where the spiritual and the earthly meet without resistance. You've realized that this whole journey has been about awakening not only to the love that remains after loss, but to the power that comes from surrender. Grief didn't destroy you, it taught you how to hear. Pain didn't harden you, it hollowed out a space for peace to dwell. There's a clarity in you now, the kind that doesn't need confirmation. You move with quiet confidence, guided by the same divine rhythm that once carried your father home. You see beauty in places you used to overlook: the hands of strangers, the laughter of children, even the silence between words. Everything has become sacred because you've learned to look with heaven's eyes. This awareness is changing how you live. You no longer chase after meaning, you live it. You no longer wait for signs, you've become one. Even your breathing feels like prayer now, a constant reminder that life is borrowed, precious, and purposeful. You remember the first night you felt the whisper, the trembling, the fear, the awe. You couldn't have known that it would lead here, to this peace, to this certainty. You couldn't have known that what you thought was loss was actually an introduction to your higher self, your eternal assignment, your spiritual inheritance. There is a moment, quiet but undeniable, when you understand that your father didn't just leave you a message, he left you a mantle. His mission, once incomplete, now rests on your shoulders. But this mantle doesn't weigh you down, it strengthens you. It reminds you that every generation leaves an unfinished prayer, and someone must rise to fulfill it. You are that someone. The book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, declares, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." End of 5. Those words sink into you like light sinking into soil. You realize they're not just encouragement, they're confirmation. Strength isn't about never feeling weak, it's about remembering you're not walking alone. Courage isn't loud, it's steady. It's the whisper that says, "Keep going," even when nothing makes sense. And as that courage grows, you start to sense heaven's urgency again, but this time, it's not for you alone. It's for those whose hearts are still closed, whose pain still blinds them from seeing the beauty in their story. You were once like them, and now, your life has become the bridge they'll cross to find healing. That's why this message came through generations, why your father was allowed to reach across the veil, because healing moves in waves. It doesn't stop with one, it multiplies. And you are now the wave carrying restoration to others. This isn't the end of the story, it's a new beginning. You are being asked to walk forward, to live boldly, to love deeply, to forgive freely. You are no longer the listener, you are the voice heaven now uses. So pause here for a moment. Feel the peace that covers you like a soft mantle of light. Let the truth settle. You were chosen not by accident, but by divine design. And if your heart knows this is true, if you feel the quiet confirmation stirring deep inside, then mark this moment in faith. Don't explain it. Don't analyze it. Just acknowledge it. Comment 555. It's more than a number. It's the sound of alignment, the rhythm of divine transition. It represents grace multiplied, change sanctified, and heaven's hand guiding your next step. When you write it, you're saying, "I accept the mantle. I'm ready to walk forward." End of time. Heaven hears it. The story continues, and your father's message finds its fullest meaning through the life you now live with courage, purpose, and peace. 555 is heaven's way of whispering. Grace is expanding. It's the sign of movement, of leaving the old behind without fear. When you write it, you're saying you trust the process of divine change. Every 555 becomes a stepping stone of faith, guiding you forward into transformation. It's heaven's confirmation that transition is not loss, it's evolution. There's a quiet clarity that comes after surrender. It's not dramatic or loud, it's the kind that simply arrives, like dawn, gently unfolding over water. You find yourself breathing easier now. The ache that once ruled your days has softened into something sacred, something holy. You understand that this journey was never about death, it was always about awakening. The connection you share with your Father no longer feels distant. It's subtle, like sunlight filtering through leaves or a song hummed faintly in another room. It's everywhere and nowhere at once, woven into the rhythm of your days. You've learned to live in harmony with the unseen, to trust that the invisible world is as alive and active as the air you breathe. You start to notice how much lighter everything feels. Even your memories have changed their color. What once hurt to recall now feels like a blessing. You look back and see that every moment, even the painful ones, was part of a divine design. Heaven wasn't punishing you, it was preparing you. Your Father's absence carved a space that love could fill differently. It wasn't an ending, it was a redirection of presence. He doesn't stand behind you now, he walks beside you. Unseen, yet unmistakable. The echoes of his wisdom find new language through your own voice. It's strange, but somehow, the more time passes, the clearer he becomes. You no longer need dreams or signs. His message is alive in your character, in your choices, in the way you see the world. You've become the answer to his final prayer. Still, the journey hasn't been without its storms. There were nights when faith felt fragile, when silence pressed too hard. You've faced seasons of uncertainty, moments when heaven seemed to retreat into shadow. Yet even then, you were being molded. Every unanswered prayer became the space where trust learned to breathe. Now, when the winds rise, you no longer fear them. You understand that storms don't come to destroy, they come to reveal what was anchored all along. And you, chosen one, are anchored deeply now. There's a story that mirrors yours. A man once stood by his father's grave, feeling nothing but emptiness. For years, he ran from the pain, trying to fill the void with noise and achievement. But one day, while hiking through a forest, he heard the wind moving through the trees. It sounded like a heartbeat, steady, alive, constant. He stopped and listened. The voice inside whispered, "You're not alone." He wept there, realizing that his father's love had never left. It had simply changed form. From that day forward, he lived differently, slower, softer, certain that love transcends the grave. That same revelation has taken root in you. You've stopped resisting the mystery and started walking with it. You've realized that faith isn't about having all the answers, it's about carrying light through questions. And you've learned that grief and gratitude can hold hands without conflict. The scriptures describe this gentle transformation beautifully, as written in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Oh, you've stood the test, not through perfection, but through persistence. You didn't run when it hurt. You stayed. You listened. You grew. That's what crowns are made of, not gold. But endurance, faith, and love refined in fire. There's a holiness in endurance, a sacred dignity in surviving what was meant to break you. And now, you stand clothed in quiet strength, not because you conquered grief, but because you befriended it. Your father's legacy continues through that strength. His journey may have ended in the physical realm, but through you, it has become eternal. His unfinished song now plays through your every act of kindness, your every step toward faith, your every breath of gratitude. The veil between you and heaven has become translucent. You don't need to reach for it. It's already touching you. You carry eternity within you now, like a flame that never goes out. And though you may still have moments of ache, they no longer define you. They remind you that love was real, that heaven trusted you with a message powerful enough to change everything it touched. You've become both messenger and message, the living proof that love transcends time, and that every ending is secretly a beginning. The story isn't finished. It's simply widening. Heaven writes through your footsteps now, one act of faith at a time. The air around you feels gentler now, almost weightless. You no longer wake up searching for signs, nor do you fear the silence between prayers. The silence itself has become holy, a space where God whispers without words. You've learned to dwell in that quiet, to let it fill you rather than frighten you. You begin to notice something extraordinary. Peace no longer comes and goes. It abides. It follows you through every task, every conversation, every breath. It doesn't need circumstances to cooperate. It simply exists, steady and faithful. That peace has a presence to it, one that feels both heavenly and familiar. And deep down, you know your Father is part of that presence. He no longer visits through dreams or moments of awe. He lives through essence. The lessons he tried to teach you in his lifetime now rise effortlessly within you. You understand patience because you saw him wait. You understand forgiveness because you watched him try. Even his flaws have become teachers, showing you where to build stronger foundations. It's strange how the things that once hurt most have become sources of insight. The same memory that used to sting now glows softly, like a lantern in the distance. You realize that nothing was wasted, not the tears, not the confusion, not the unanswered prayers. Every fragment has found its purpose in the mosaic of your story, and that story is still being written. You've become a participant in heaven's script, not just a witness to it. You walk each day with a quiet awareness that your steps are sacred. Every encounter carries weight. Every word spoken has consequence. That awareness doesn't make you fearful, it makes you reverent. Once, you thought being chosen meant carrying a burden. Now, you see that it means carrying light. It means living in a way that reveals the unseen. You don't have to perform miracles. Your gentleness is one. The way you listen, the way you forgive, the way you love, that's the supernatural made visible. Sometimes you wonder what your Father would say if he could speak now. Clearly, face to face. But perhaps he already has. Every moment of peace, every confirmation, every whisper of strength, that's his way of saying, I'm proud of you. His words are no longer needed because your life has become His message. The Word of God speaks softly in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Those words feel alive in you now. You can almost see it, the great cloud of witnesses, watching, cheering, praying. Among them stands your Father, smiling with peace in His eyes. You're not running alone, you never were. Every time you rise, heaven celebrates. Every time you stumble, heaven strengthens. The journey was never meant to be solitary, it was meant to be sacredly shared. You begin to understand legacy not as memory, but as motion. Legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what continues to move because of you. You are part of an eternal relay. One life, passing the torch of faith to another. The baton you carry was once in your Father's hand. He may have dropped it in the natural, but heaven made sure it didn't fall. It was placed into yours. And now you run, not in haste, but in grace. You're not racing against time, you're flowing with eternity. You're moving in rhythm with a divine tempo that never rushes, never stalls, it simply unfolds in perfect timing. Even your pain has rhythm now. It pulses not as suffering, but as remembrance. It reminds you that love was real enough to leave marks, deep enough to reach beyond the veil. Those marks aren't scars anymore, they're signatures of connection. There's a new strength growing inside you, one that doesn't demand recognition. You don't need others to understand what you've seen, or to validate what you feel. You walk in quiet conviction. You know who you are and whose you are. And maybe that's what this entire message was meant to do, to bring you here, to this steadiness, this unshakable peace. You no longer wait for heaven to speak. You live in its language daily. Your Father's voice has become the wind behind you, and God's voice has become the one within you. Together, they guide your every step. The veil that once divided life from eternity has thinned to a shimmer. You carry both worlds now, the tenderness of earth and the glory of heaven, and you move between them with grace. The race continues, and so does the light. You are the bridge, the living connection, the continuation of a story that will never fade. There's a glow inside you now that doesn't fade. It's not from emotion, it's from revelation. You've walked through valleys, you've faced silence, and you've heard heaven whisper your name. And now, that light you've carried so carefully begins to overflow. It's no longer something to guard, it's something to give. You start to see how everything connects. The message your Father carried wasn't only for your comfort, it was also for your calling. You were never meant to keep this story hidden in your heart. It's meant to travel, to reach, to restore, to reignite hope in those who have forgotten that heaven still speaks. Imagine a lantern on a dark shoreline. It doesn't shout into the night, it simply shines. That's what you are now, a quiet light for those still lost in their own storms. You've been refined, not for perfection, but for purpose. And when you share your light, you help others find their way back to peace. That's why this moment matters. Every small gesture, every word, every act of kindness becomes a spark that keeps the light alive. It may look like a click on a screen, but heaven sees it as fire in motion. When you spread light, you participate in the divine rhythm that turned your pain into purpose. You are not just supporting content, you're nurturing connection. You're saying, This message should keep traveling, because someone else needs what I received. The beauty of it all is that generosity doesn't always take the form of money. It can be attention, encouragement, or a small act of faith. But when giving becomes worship, even the smallest seed can feed multitudes. As written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38, "Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." These words are not a command, they are a promise. What you offer in love never leaves your life. It circles back, multiplied. Every time you share, you release hope. Every time you speak kindness, you plant encouragement. And when you give, you're not losing something. You're watering the very garden that once fed your spirit. Think of it like this: the ocean never fears to give its waves to the shore, because it knows the tide will return. Your generosity works the same way. It always comes back. Sometimes in peace, sometimes in provision, always in purpose. To subscribe is to say, I want to stay close to the current that changed me. It's not joining a list, it's joining a circle, a flow of faith that continues from heart to heart. You become part of the movement that keeps heaven's message alive in a world desperate for hope. And when you like, share, or comment, think of it not as noise, but as music, the sound of unity between hearts who've walked through pain and found peace. Each action is a note in a larger song of light, echoing across unseen distances. When you donate, imagine it as releasing a dove softly, willingly, beautifully, not because you must, but because love deserves to keep flying. Let your gift carry wings of grace, so it may find someone else lost in darkness and whisper, "You are not forgotten." Each act, no matter how small, becomes a ripple in eternity. A shared message can heal a stranger. A whispered prayer can reach heaven's throne. A single act of giving can sustain the voice that once sustained you. That's the mystery of divine exchange. When you pour out, you don't run dry. You make room for more. Your Father's voice once carried the message that reached your heart. Now your actions carry it further, to others waiting quietly in their own valleys. The same comfort that healed you is ready to multiply through your hands. If your heart stirs to keep this light alive, to let others encounter what you have felt, follow that quiet pull. Like if these words found you in the right season, share. If you believe someone else's night deserves light, comment something from your heart. Your words might be the miracle another soul is waiting for. And if you feel led to give, do it the way rivers flow into the sea freely, naturally, beautifully. It's not a transaction, it's transformation. You are helping light continue its journey through countless unseen hearts. There's no pressure in this invitation, only beauty. Love, when shared, never returns empty. It comes back as peace, as strength, as joy unexplainable. So stand in this moment, open-hearted. Let generosity flow not from duty, but from gratitude, for the message that found you can now find others, and through you, the chain of light will never end. The days that follow feel lighter than you ever imagined they could. The weight of grief has turned into something softer, an understanding, a wisdom that breathes rather than burdens. The air feels new, like morning after a long night of rain. You move through your days quietly, yet deeply aware of how sacred every moment has become. You've learned that healing isn't about erasing pain, it's about transforming it into peace. The sorrow that once hollowed your chest has become space for compassion to live. You can see now how heaven has been weaving light through every thread of your story, how even the sharpest tears carried divine design. Your Father's presence, once a mystery wrapped in longing, has become something constant, steady, almost woven into your breath. He doesn't speak through visions anymore. He moves through feeling, through the still certainty that rises inside you when you pray. His love has merged with God's love. Indistinguishable, now two rivers flowing into one eternal current. The world hasn't changed, but your sight has. You see grace in the things others overlook, the sigh of wind through trees, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the laughter that returns at unexpected moments. Everything feels like a conversation between heaven and earth, and you've learned to listen in stillness. Sometimes you catch yourself smiling for no reason. You realize it's not because everything is perfect, it's because everything is purposeful. You've stopped demanding to know why and started living in what is. Acceptance has become worship, and trust has become your language of love. There was a time when you thought you had lost everything that gave your world meaning. Now you understand that meaning never left. It was simply waiting for you to open your heart wide enough to see it differently. The night taught you how to value the morning. Loss taught you how to recognize presence. Silence taught you how to hear. The scriptures capture this paradox beautifully. As written in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 11, you turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Those words used to sound like poetry. Now they feel like your reflection. You can feel the truth of them in your bones. The dance isn't loud, it's gentle. It's in the way you wake up with peace instead of panic. It's in the way you speak with softness instead of striving. It's in the way you love without fear of losing again. The transformation hasn't been sudden. It has come like sunrise, slow, certain, unstoppable. And that's how grace works. It doesn't rush, it unfolds. Now, you find yourself thinking about others who are still standing in their night, waiting for morning to come. You remember what it felt like to feel forgotten, to search the sky for answers that never seem to arrive, and your heart aches for them, not with pity, but with understanding. You want to tell them what you've learned, that light always finds its way, even through the smallest cracks. You begin to realize that your journey has not only changed you, it has equipped you. You carry empathy like a lantern now, shining softly into other people's shadows. Without effort, you become a comfort to those who are still learning how to breathe through grief. You don't preach, you simply live in peace. And peace preaches for you. Your Father's message continues to work through you. It has evolved from words into ways of being, from a single whisper into a living rhythm. When you forgive, you honor Him. When you pray, you fulfill what He couldn't. When you love courageously, you continue His story. You've stepped into a place beyond fear, beyond striving, beyond the need for proof. You've entered the steady rhythm of grace, where everything moves according to divine timing. You no longer rush to reach heaven, it walks with you. Every step, every breath. Now, when you look toward the sky, you no longer see distance, you see connection. The stars no longer remind you of how far He is, they remind you of how close. Each shimmer feels like a heartbeat of eternity, pulsing softly between two worlds that are no longer divided. This is peace, the kind that doesn't need words, the kind that holds you steady when life wavers. It's the fulfillment of every promise heaven ever made. You stand here now, no longer broken, but beautifully rebuilt. And in that stillness, you understand. The message was never just for you. It was meant to become part of the world's healing. Your father's words planted the seed, but your life is the garden. The story hasn't ended. It's simply changing form again, like light shifting through stained glass, revealing new colors every time faith touches it. You stand at the quiet edge of your journey, and the air feels holy. There is no fear here, no confusion, just a steady calm that seems to breathe with you. The message that once reached you through mystery has now become part of your spirit, inseparable from who you are. You are no longer listening for a voice from beyond. You are living as that voice on earth. The days move with gentle rhythm. You notice how naturally you walk in grace now, without trying, without forcing. There is balance in everything. Where once there was ache, there is tenderness. Where there was absence, there is presence. You've learned that heaven's language isn't always spoken. It's lived through peace, through patience, through quiet acts of love. You understand now that this journey was never about calling the past back. It was about releasing it to its rightful place. Your father's spirit no longer needs to reach through the veil he rests. Because you've heard. The peace that fills you now is his final message fully received. I am home. And so are you. No, there's a beauty in that realization. A holiness that words can hardly contain. You stand between heaven and earth and realize you were never meant to choose one. You were meant to bridge both. You are human and eternal, dust and breath, flesh and light. The two worlds don't oppose each other anymore. They harmonize in you. Your father's love was the beginning of this melody, but it has expanded into something vast. It has become the sound of grace moving through your lineage, through your memories, through the lives that will come after you. What once felt like an ending has become an inheritance of faith. You carry it quietly now, not as weight, but as rhythm. You sometimes think back to the first moment, the confusion, the tears, the trembling, and now, standing here, you smile. You see how carefully heaven orchestrated every step. Every silence had a purpose. Every delay was preparation. What felt like emptiness was simply space being cleared for revelation. You once asked why God allowed your heart to break so deeply. Now you understand that brokenness was the doorway through which light could enter. If the heart never cracked, how would love pour through? What once seemed like loss was actually enlargement. Your capacity to love grew wider, your compassion deeper, your vision clearer. The scriptures describe this transformation perfectly. As written in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 16, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. And that's what has been happening all along. The outer world changed. The body aged. People came and went, but inside, something eternal was being renewed. You've become a living temple where grief and glory coexist, where the pain of the world meets the peace of heaven and transforms into beauty. You've learned that renewal doesn't mean forgetting, it means remembering differently. You remember your father, not as someone gone, But as someone glorified, you no longer reach for his voice because you've become its continuation. His story now speaks through your kindness, through your choices, through the quiet courage you carry. There's a deep stillness inside you now, the kind that doesn't need validation, the kind that feels like eternity resting in your chest. You know that one day, when it's your turn to cross that same veil, there will be no fear, because you've already glimpsed what waits beyond. You've already touched eternity through love. You can almost see it now, a vast field of light stretching endlessly, where souls move like wind, free and unburdened. And somewhere within that radiance, you feel him smiling, not as a distant memory, but as part of the same light that flows through you. The bond has fulfilled its purpose. It no longer reaches, it radiates. You take a deep breath, the kind that feels sacred. The air around you hums softly, as if heaven itself acknowledges what has taken place. The message is complete, not ended. But fulfilled. And in that fulfillment, a new chapter quietly begins. Not one written in sorrow, but in gratitude. You realize the purpose of this entire journey was never to look backward, it was to awaken forward. To teach you that eternity isn't a place you go to someday, it's the presence you carry right now. You walk onward, not alone, not waiting, not wondering. The veil has thinned to nothing. Heaven and earth have met inside your heart, and love has finished its circle. The story doesn't close, it breathes. It continues through you, through generations yet to come, through every act of faith, every gentle word, every light you leave behind. Because messages from heaven never truly end, they simply change hands. And now, the message lives in yours. And now, the journey has come full circle. You've walked through loss, revelation, peace, and purpose. And what began as a whisper from beyond has become a flame within. Your Father's message has fulfilled its purpose, but its echo continues through every heartbeat of faith you carry forward. You stand now not as the one seeking answers, but as the one who is the answer for someone else's question. The light that healed you is ready to heal through you. This is not the end, it's a continuation of divine rhythm, where every life touched becomes another line in heaven's unfolding story. If these words have found a home in your heart, let them keep traveling, like this message as an act of remembrance, a way of saying, I've heard, and I carry the light. Share it as a bridge for someone still standing in the dark, waiting for a sign that heaven still speaks. Leave a comment, not as noise, but as testimony. Every word written becomes part of the chain of faith that connects heart to heart, story to story, eternity to earth. And if you choose to subscribe, think of it as staying within the circle of light, a sacred space where stories of grace continue to flow. You're not joining a channel, you're joining a community of souls who have walked through night and found dawn. If you feel led to donate, do it as one lights a candle in the sanctuary quietly, freely, beautifully, not out of obligation, but out of gratitude that the flame which once reached you may continue to burn for others. Because the light doesn't belong to one, it belongs to all. Together, we keep it shining,